Thank you for joining us on Nationwide, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. The 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting is now underway in Kigali, Rwanda. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the high-level engagements, the 26th in the series. State House correspondent Adam Musambu has the story.
Holding for the first time in 4 years due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 global pandemic, CHOGM 2022 in Rwanda is the 6th time an African country is hosting and the first since 2007.
The President of Nigeria,
President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, and 53 other leaders from the Commonwealth member countries, as well as over 5,000 delegates from government, business and civil society are participating at the event with the theme Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. Described as the most significant grouping of countries in the world, the Commonwealth is above all bound by values of peace, justice, tolerance, respect and solidarity. And as the leaders begin deliberations here in Kigali amidst new and decisive shifts in the world, it is imperative that those values shape the choices they make towards achieving progress for the 2.5 billion people they represent. It is indeed the time to show the world what real unity, solidarity, cooperation and progress look like, as speakers including the Prince of Wales and future head of the Commonwealth kept emphasizing in their opening remarks.
If we are to leave the world better than we found it, and that is our duty and our privilege, we must be bold with our ambition, decisive with our actions, and united in our effort. In this mission, I know Her Majesty the Queen stands with us all.
The economic damage of COVID and mounting debt confront us all. The rapid intensification of climate change poses an existential threat. The tremors of conflict and instability in our world, the spiraling costs of food and fuel, and economic uncertainty threaten a serious and protracted crisis. This struggle is first and foremost an opportunity to find answers to these questions.
Ours is a country that was torn apart by genocide and division just a generation ago. Today, we are a nation transformed in heart, mind, and body. Everything we do, including joining the Commonwealth in 2009, is aimed at making sure that our people are connected, included, and forward-looking.
During the opening, a moment of silent reflection was observed in memory of the more than 1 million people across the Commonwealth from all walks of life, including the heads of government who died, particularly of COVID, since the last meeting in London 4 years ago. From Kigali, Rwanda, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now, when disasters propelled by climate change occur, women and children are said to be the most impacted. This consciousness is prompting advocacy for women inclusion in climate action as the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. Onangie Fineface reports.
Vulnerable women and girls
on the sidelines of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, gender advocates meet to highlight the contribution of women in ensuring successful climate change resilience. Conversations promote the opinion that it is necessary to include women as vital change makers and ensure their seat at the policy and decision-making tables for climate action.
Having alternative income sources, being able to access transportation, being able to access information, having leadership positions and being able to make decisions are all attributes of what makes a person more resilient to a climate change shock and stress. So they tend to have less of those, and that's why they get affected more.
There are result frameworks which are very clearly covering gender indicators right now, so that there is no proposal that goes without a gender marker which covers that. And of course, that's the bare minimum that we achieved till now.
With increasing vulnerabilities, cities, homes and large informal communities are already feeling the harsh effects of climate change and other disaster risks.
It is time to close the gap in gender if we are to strengthen our resilience, preparedness, coping capacity and recovery effort. Offsetting the trend is indeed possible if we are committed.
This session recommends, therefore, that all sectors of society must be united in protecting the diverse communities of the Commonwealth. Onengie Fine Face, NTA News.
Now, young women from nations of the Commonwealth at a youth forum are focusing on how to change and create tangible opportunities towards building a safer, more secure and a prosperous future for all. This is at the ongoing 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda, where the youths believe that through the power of learning and persistence, lives can be transformed. Olaika Ojo, who is monitoring proceedings, reports.
These are young people who are participating at the Chugom 2022. Issues that will transform their lives are expected to take the front burner.
Our first step in the right direction begins with the recognition that our youth population is our greatest untapped asset.
With the theme, Harnessing Youth Potential, representatives of Rwanda and Commonwealth Youth Councils emphasized the need for youths to take charge of their future.
Look forward to what we can achieve together in one voice, the voice of the Commonwealth.
Then came the breakout session, where they were exposed to entrepreneurial skills and ways of maximizing skills acquired and technology to drive innovation.
This forum is a golden opportunity to take decisive steps towards these goals and build a safer, more secure, more prosperous future for all.
The event had a launch of Sustainable and Clean Energy Action Group and a Commonwealth Youth for Sustainable Urbanization Network. Olaika Ojo, NTA News.
And now on a happy note, Nigeria has made another giant stride on the global scene with the election of Esther Agubamian Mshelia to the United Nations Committee on the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, which took place in New York. Esther Agubamian Mshelia is one of the 12 members elected by state parties of the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women to replace those whose terms of office are due to expire on 31st December 2022. The terms of members elected will commence on 1st January 2023 and expire 4 years later on 31st December 2026. While congratulating the new Nigeria's representative as the UN CEDAW, Women Affairs Minister Pauline Talent said she has no doubt that Esther Agubamian Mshelia will do the nation proud in the journey ahead. And the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs is creating a comprehensive database of widows in Nigeria. The Minister, Pauline Talent, represented by the Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Idris Mohammed, explains that such a database is an important tool to adequately address challenges facing the widows.
Just as we have gotten their data and plans for various economic empowerment in terms of all those that have gone into various schemes, we will be giving all these most of these empowerment items, and then starter pack.
Issues that has to do with discrimination, they are not supposed to be discriminated against.
The database is expected to contain the number of widows, number of children, and other necessary information that will help in proper planning. Speaking to widows in Duzi Alhaji community in commemoration of the 2022 International Widows Day, the minister acknowledged their resilience, encouraged them not to give up while discouraging all harmful practices against them. Women rights interest groups in Yobe State are strategizing through community engagement and adoption of social accountability tools in capturing sexual and gender-based violence-related cases into its databank. This is with a view to tackling the phenomenon head-on in Yobe State. Adam Yusuf reports that the Muslim Sisters Organization of Nigeria, Yobe State chapter, is championing the cause in collaboration with civil society organizations.
Reports have shown that in Nigeria, 30% of girls and women between 15 and 49 years have experienced one form of sexual violence or another in their lifetime. In the Northeast region, the menace was aggravated by years of insurgency that forced people to abandon their homes to either move to IDP camps or other places they feel safe. The concern of facilitators of this refresher training is to build the capacities of these human rights groups in attendance towards addressing sexual and gender-based violence in Yobe State.
So to say 80% of the populace now, at least because of the various advocacy carried out and the information given by the workers. So actually, so to say, the people are responding now to GBV issues. And actually, by the grace of God, sooner or later, that is the issue of GBV will be a history in Yobe State, inshallah.
The goal or aims of MSO was to assess the level of service delivery at the community level and at the facility level regarding GBV-related issues in Yobe State.
The participants are expected to step down knowledge acquired to targeted communities in Damaturu, Gujba, Fune, Potuskum, Guru, and by the local government areas. In Damaturu, Ademisu, NTA News.
To the judiciary now, where the Supreme Court has struck out the suit challenging the constitutionality of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. The seven-man panel of justices led by Justice Muhammad Musa Detiju gave the verdict in a suit against the National Assembly as the first defendants. Dele Atumbi reports.
Plaintiffs in this matter challenged the constitutionality or otherwise of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. Section 84, subsection 12 bars political appointees from being delegates or being voted for at the convention of a political party. In essence, a political appointee is expected to resign his appointment before being a delegate or to be voted for at the national convention of a political party. In determining the matter, the seven-man panel of justices, in their considered judgment, averred that the plaintiffs participated in the process of the enactment of the Electoral Act 2022. Having participated in the process of the enactment of the Electoral Act, the court observed the plaintiffs did not have the power to invoke a legal process. The seven-man panel of justices also averred that by its nature, the matter did not fall within the original or additional jurisdiction of the court. The Apex Court upheld the objection of the defendants, hence the seven-man panel of justices did not go into the merit or otherwise of the case. Since the court lacks jurisdiction and the matter adjudged as an abuse of court process, the seven-man panel of justices, in a unanimous judgment prepared and read by Justice Emmanuel Ajin, struck out the suit.
The Supreme Court have delivered their judgments, and being the Apex Court, everybody is bound by it.
Cannot but to salute the courage, the industry of my noble lord for doing justice to this matter.
The defendant in the matter at the National Assembly, the Rivers State Government and Rivers State House of Assembly, which came in as joiners, and the Nigerian Bar Association was amicus curiae, meaning friend of the court. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Civil servants' performance is expected to be determined by the new performance management system (PMS) from 2022 instead of the current appraisal system. This was at a public lecture to mark the Civil Service Day in Abuja. Haman Jambadi reports that 41 civil servants were presented with the Presidential Public Service Merit Award at the event.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the Minister of FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, says government's determination to change the civil service saw the various reforms ongoing, the launch of the culture change video, and the Federal Civil Service Strategic Implementation Plan 2025.
The Nigerian government will spare no effort in improving the competencies of officers in the civil service through training and retraining of staff by the system. Opportunities will also be created for individuals to develop according to their personal needs, attributes, and talents.
Head of the Civil Service of the Federation says NDAs are to implement the PMS, which have been incorporated into the reverse civil service rule.
Has been cascaded the ministries with permanent secretaries as the top drivers of the PMS.
Service is the driver for the implementation of all government policies. Hence, the need to accord it the respect and attention it deserves by the government.
To mark the Civil Service Day, 41 civil servants were presented with Presidential Public Service Merit Award. One of the awardees, Fanioke Sunday Olusegun of Ministry of Police Affairs, won a brand new car through a ballot. An endowment trust fund was set up by one of the civil servants' partner, where awardees will get 500,000 naira each as part of effort to encourage reward in the service. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
The next set of reports comes from Lagos, and Adeola is our guide. It's over to you.
Thank you, Lami. The federal government is working with all relevant authorities to remove over 40 wrecks and abandoned vessels identified along the Nigerian coastal space with a view to boosting economic activities. Minister of State for Transportation, Senator Gbemisola Saraki, stated this at an engagement with senior naval officers and hydrographic experts in Lagos. Abolade Salami reports.
It is an established fact that oceans have been of immense importance to mankind, from their function as the lungs of the earth, resource for livelihood, to their role as medium for global trade and source of revenue generation for governments. It is on this premise that Nigeria, with over 835 kilometers of coastline, places premium on the protection of the maritime space against all forms of crimes.
The 60-meter offshore survey vessel in the inventory of the Nigerian Navy, as well as one 35-meter coastal survey vessel and 2 inland survey boats, suggest that there will be adequate hydrographic information for all users.
Minister of State for Transportation, Senator Gbemisola Saraki, while reacting to the relevance of hydrography as key to the proper management of ocean assets, said government initiated much needed policy direction for synchronized hydrographic practices amongst stakeholders in the country.
To address this issue of the number of wrecks, we're hoping to work with the Nigerian Navy. Some of the wrecks that haven't been identified today, they had over 40 recently identified. So it's important we need to do that. Wrecks are hindering economic growth.
2 years after the launch of an indigenous navigational chart for monitoring the coastal area, the Nigerian Navy, as custodian of the maritime domain, designed 9 more navigational paper charts and 5 cells of electronic navigational charts. This progress is at a time when the world is focused on the use of ocean sciences to achieve sustainable development.
Hydrographic data will assist relevant agencies to delineate critical maritime protection and potential deep sea mining areas. This will further position Nigeria on the right path towards improved national economic growth, development, and our overall security.
As the Nigerian Navy commences the first indigenous systematic survey of Nigeria's coastal and offshore waters, the Chief of Naval Staff has emphasized that this will be sustained until the entire offshore waters is completely surveyed. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Now from securing Nigeria's maritime space, we'll move on to the fight against substandard products. The destruction of fake and substandard products worth billions of naira is creating optimism among manufacturers that with intense and sustained pressure from regulatory agencies, the local industry will not only contribute immensely to the nation's gross domestic product, but create jobs. Michael Olaleye reports.
A provocative sight that further casts doubt on the integrity of most products in the Nigerian markets. So, one could better imagine what will have happened if these roofing sheets found their ways to the top of buildings. Genuine manufacturers like Bukola Dubi are the ones feeling the heat. In fact, most of the company's products are not just out of circulation, but there is an unending battle to salvage the name of the brand under intense pressure from imitation.
I see one of our brands labeled here now, and you can imagine someone that is unaware buying that brand and then going back and saying this brand is what is causing fire. Right? Some of us, unfortunately, have been blacklisted.
This public destruction is a statement of intent by the Standards Organization of Nigeria that the country is no longer a safe haven for fake and substandard products. The destroyed items were retrieved from warehouses and the marketplace after their importers beat pulse checks.
The FCCPC as an organization is also prepared to work with SON to remove more of these things from the markets.
Beyond making a case for the return of the SON to the ports, the Director General believes there is a connection between importation of fake products, crimes, and economic sabotage.
Every society in this world depends on a functioning manufacturing or service providing industry in the country. If anything is substandard, what you're doing is you're undermining our economy, which means it's the same thing as treason.
The optimism for major stakeholders here is that this action will serve as a note of warning to importers and manufacturers still contemplating flooding the Nigerian market with fake products. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
Well, the baton will now go over to Maiduguri with Abubakar standing by, but that will be after the break. Don't forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on our other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates to stay.
We're glad to have you back on Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority, and this is Maiduguri Network Center. Let's move on now. Available statistics obtained from INEC indicates there are currently over 169,000 newly registered voters in Borno State, with 25,000 permanent voter cards ready for collection, out of which only 4,000 have been claimed. Worried by this development, in addition to ensuring resettled communities exercise their civic responsibility, mobile registration points have been created by Independent Electoral Commission to ease the process of registration and collection. Yagum Subukar will now tell us more.
As Nigeria's political scene changes on the road to February 2023 elections, obtaining the permanent voter card remains the only weapon to cast one's vote. With increasing political consciousness, registration and collection of PVCs is now the main business of the day. The level of enthusiasm about the process here in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, is generally encouraging, as registrants were captured at various centers patiently waiting either to be registered or collect their PVCs.
I've come out with my strength
to vote.
It is well established that the insecurity has forced many, especially in areas worst affected, to lose their PVCs, and this prompted INEC redouble efforts in ensuring that every eligible voter is registered, in addition to support by Borno State government to INEC in hastening the process.
People are rushing to come and register. Each local government has been provided with 3 machines at least.
We at the local government council, we did everything possible to sensitize our people, at the same time provide all the necessary logistics needed for INEC to carry out their activities.
Larry David, who is a first-timer, says she had her registration online and is here for the thumbprint, a process she described was conducted without difficulties. As it is now, INEC has created mobile registration centers within the metropolis and Jere local government to ease the exercise in order to meet up the deadline for closure of the registration. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Away from that now to focus our attention on issues concerning security. Theatre Commander Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, has inaugurated a special court-martial to try 29 cases involving personnel for professional misconduct. The special court-martial holding in Maiduguri will also treat leftover cases of 3 courts disposed in April this year from the theatre of operation. Maimuna Garba has the rest of the story.
The inauguration of the court-martial is conducted about a place.
The inauguration of the special court-martial is a normal command responsibility to uphold military regimentation and ensure operational efficacy of troops. Inaugurating the special court-martial, Theatre Commander Operation Hadinkai, Major General assured the accused persons not to fear, as the court proceedings will be in accordance with the provisions of extant rules and regulations. He said the command has already provided a level playing ground for both the accused persons and the prosecution team.
This is the second special court-martial. General court-martial can award death. Special court-martial, because the number is not that much, cannot award death, except if they increase their number.
In October 2021, 3 court-martials were inaugurated by the theatre commander, where about 227 cases were disposed, out of which 107 cases were recommended for summary trials and 120 cases have been concluded.
The whole essence is to ensure that there is justice. And that's why it took us some time for us to bring this out, because we don't want anybody to feel he has been shortchanged for whatever reason.
To this end, some of the accused persons were convicted and awarded various punishments in accordance with provisions of the Armed Forces Law. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're on to Nationwide on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. Let us at this point return to Lami in Abuja for the continuation of the news. Good evening.
Many thanks, Abubakar. Now, the APC caucus of the South-South region strongly throws its weight behind the mandate of the party's presidential standard-bearer, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The caucus described the convention that produced the party's candidate as credible, fair and transparent, and pledged unflinching support come 2023.
His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for emerging as the presidential candidate of our party, and thank him for the steps he has so far taken to unite those that contested that election with him and to assure him that the South-South zone will support that ticket and ensure his victory come 2023.
The APC chieftains commended former Minister of Transportation Chibuke Rotimi Amechi for polling second highest votes and promised to ensure the party's victory. A non-governmental organization initiative has embarked on sensitization campaign program on PVC collection in Abuja ahead of the 2023 general elections. Obiageli Ugoke reports that the event is held simultaneously across the federation.
Get and where go get.
The distance, I mean the long queue when you go and then the pushing.
They should make it available like we had your ATM card.
Reactions across the country show that most Nigerians don't register for voter card, while some of them who registered are yet to collect the PVC.
It's only with PVC that we can do things for ourselves. Like we can change our country, we'll get things we want, and we'll get the leaders we need.
With the slogan, "Get your PVC today," the group highlights the prospects of increased public participation in voting during general elections following research outcomes, which report that more than 60% of registered voters do not vote for various reasons.
There are some that their voters card has faded off, some they've lost their voters card, some have not registered at all. So this program is an avenue that we use to sensitize them on how to go about it.
Aish Initiative is a non-governmental, non-profitable organization that focuses on providing advocacy, humanitarian, psychosocial and educational support to poor and crisis-ridden communities in Nigeria. Obiageli Ugoke, NTA News.
And as the June 30 deadline for the continuous voter registration exercise approaches, a non-governmental organization inside Nigeria, most members of which are lawyers, is assisting members of the public to ensure that they do not have challenges in the process. The group demonstrated this as the INEC Registration Center at Jabi Lake Park, Abuja. The NGO observed that will increase youth participation in the 2023 polls. Now, funding quality weaponry, information, communication and technology, training and developments, among others, have been identified by the Chairman Police Service Commission as requirements that would usher in an efficient and effective police force. This was at a meeting with the European Union delegation to Nigeria and the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. A statement by the head media and public relations of the Commission, Ike Chukwani, says the PSC Chairman Musliu Smith calls for adequate funding for the Nigeria police force to ensure a successful police reform in the country. Smith also noted that police reforms should also include training and retraining of officers, provision of decent and comfortable barrack accommodation, transportation and provision of adequate quality weaponry. The visiting delegation were asked the Commission to find out how the Commission is making inputs into the Presidential Police Reform Roadmap and how donors could also support the program. Leader of the EU delegation promised to continue to partner with the Commission and support its efforts in the Presidential Police Reform Roadmap so as to improve the capacity of the Nigeria Police Force in handling the disturbing rate of insecurity in the country. Now, towards tackling the upsurge in criminal activities in Abia State, a stakeholder security workshop has been held in Wahia, the state capital. Kingsley Ononiu reports.
The capacity building workshop for security stakeholders organized by the Abia State Emergency Management Agency in collaboration with Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency afforded the participants the opportunity of brainstorming on how to nip in the bud future security challenges as well as the best approach to tackle existing security breaches in the state with a view to securing lives and property.
Don't deny the fact that insecurity has really come to stay with us somehow. And since we cannot deny that fact, it has become evident that we must strategize for effective response.
Every act of insecurity on the waters actually begins on the land. The planning, the conception, the indoctrination, the recruitment begins on the land. We can all come together to synergize, look at your challenges, and then come up with workable solutions going forward.
The recommendations to step up the fight against criminal activities in the state made at the end of the event included a call on Abia State government to involve all security agencies in the State Security Council for intelligence sharing and attainment of overall security of the state. In Umuahia, Kingsley Ononiu, NTA News.
Still on security, the 29 young men kidnapped along Sokoto-Gusau Road barely 2 weeks ago have eventually regained freedom. It will be recalled that the young men, mostly traders who deal in smartphones and accessories at a Gusau popular market, were kidnapped by suspected terrorists near Tureta town along Sokoto's Zamfara State's boundary on Saturday, 11th June 2022, on their way home after attending a wedding ceremony in Sokoto. Details of how the victims regained freedom are, however, sketchy as the time of filing this report, as Zamfara State Police Command could not be reached for comments on the matter. Now, the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom has confirmed the killing of more than 10 timber dealers in Guma, his local government area. He confirmed this during the Executive Council meeting as the Government House Makurdi. Charles Abba reports.
Governor Samuel Otom confirmed the killing of 16 timber dealers in Guma Tuesday.
The renewed killings and attacks will not stop us from doing the right thing. We are not against anybody.
While the governor restated his commitment to the protection of Benue people, he implored everyone to be alert and brace towards bringing the heinous activities of terrorists to a halt.
All of us must work towards ensuring that we stabilize the economy, and the economy cannot be stabilized with this level of insecurity. And that is why some of us will continue to say, except we have security, nothing can work in this country.
In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
We now go to Ibadan to join Lanre for more stories on Nationwide. It's over to you, Lanre.
Good to see you, Lami, and welcome to Ibadan. As the countdown to Osun governorship election begins, political parties that are taking part in the election have been advised to play the game by the rules towards a free, fair and credible election. A team from National Democratic Institute gave the advice during a visit to Governor Oyetola in Osogbo. Bolaji Akeem reports that the governor also signed the Commitment Act to free, fair and violence-free polls.
With few weeks to the governorship election in Osun State, the need for free, fair and credible election that will be generally accepted by participants cannot be overemphasized. For this to come to reality, the National Democratic Institute is going around to engage all political parties that will be taking part in the governorship election on the need to play the game according to the rules.
We are implementing the Vote Not Fight campaign and the Stop Violence Against Women in Politics campaign.
As a man of peace, you make a commitment to run a peaceful campaign. Encourage your supporters to be peaceful before, during, and after the election.
Governor Boyega Oyetola appreciated the team for their concern in good governance and entrenchment of democratic system. The governor explained that the APC has always led by example in all its activities, including reactions to provocative comments from the opposition parties.
It is important for us to recognize the fact that we're supposed to be serving the people. So why do you want to embark on violence? You want to force yourself on the people? If you believe democracy is all about government of the people, for the people, and by the people, then you should ensure that you allow free, fair, and credible election.
Governor Oyetola at the meeting also signed the Commitment Act to free, fair, and credible election. Bolaji Akeem, NTA News.
Away from electoral matter, in a bid to reduce the burden of stroke to the barest minimum in the continent, Africa Stroke Organization, in collaboration with other non-governmental organizations, held a summit to chart a way forward. Ifeoluwa Omosile was there. A report is here presented.
I had a stroke when I was like 33 years old. And I was drinking, I was smoking, then I used to be fat.
That was Michael sharing his experience as a stroke survivor to corroborate the research by the World Health Organization, which revealed that stroke is the second leading cause of death and the third leading cause of disabilities, as 1 in 4 people are in danger of stroke in their lifetime. To nip this in the bud, medical experts all over the world at the summit, organized by the African Stroke Organization, advocated government intervention in the health sector, especially at the grassroots, adding that training of medical staff, funding, and quick access to medical care is a panacea to tackling the disease in Africa.
Government funding and staffing and the provision of essential medicine, especially at the primary health care level, so that the common diseases that lead to stroke, such as hypertension, can be treated and tackled at the primary health care level.
The only one goal of this summit is to come up with a strategic action plan in order to reduce the burden of stroke in that specific space.
Living a healthy lifestyle was pinpointed as one of the ways to prevent stroke, which the medical experts say has no relationship with spirituality.
Those are the latest reports from Ibadan at this hour. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Lami after this break. Stay.
Thank you for staying with us. Nigeria is said to be gradually succeeding in the fight against graft and other illicit financial flow through sustainable implementation of anti-corruption frameworks. This came to the fore during the presentation of the 2021 country report on anti-corruption by the Chartered Institute of Forensics and Certified Fraud Examiners of Nigeria. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
The anti-corruption crusade of the present administration remains top on the agenda of the next level marathon of recovering Nigeria's economy. And to review the progress of anti-graft measures put in place by the federal government, these forensic and fraud examiners are setting the tone.
This is the first independent review of our national anti-corruption strategy. And let me pledge that we are willing to support the Office of the Attorney General in ensuring that we provide input in the second strategy that is being developed.
Anti-corruption strategists and other legal partners are appealing for effective legislation to strengthen operations of anti-graft agencies.
It is crucial that all stakeholders collaborate and harmonize their efforts to ensure a legislative framework that will be effective, efficient, and enduring in the fight against corruption.
UNODC and the National Bureau of Statistics have conducted two national corruption surveys, one in 2016 and another in 2019. While corruption remains widespread, there was a moderate but statistically significant decrease.
People don't really think corruption is a wrong thing, and we need to be part of that campaign, including the media, to ensure that there's public engagement.
The assessment of the latest report is to build a robust platform for quality performance of future reports aimed at fighting corruption to a standstill. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
And improvements on effective service delivery has been identified as key factor in developing domestic tourism in Nigeria. At a one-day interactive session on effective customer service delivery in Abuja, tourism practitioners spoke on the need for consistent training.
The hospitality and tourism industry is all about service delivery. And we looked at it that our customer service is dropping. You discover that the staff are not also trained anymore. The total reorientation. And to me, it should start from the home. Every one of us will take responsibility.
With a thriving tourism industry in Nigeria, experts believe the country would be less dependent on oil as the sector has the capacity to create jobs, generate revenue, and the additional multiplier effects to the economy. National Population Commission has inaugurated a service call center at its headquarters in Abuja, aimed at enhancing an effective interface with Nigerians ahead of the 2023 population and housing census. The report will come to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with Deacon Samson Maliki Diki from a quantity surveyor who contributed greatly to the physical development of Sokoto and Kebbi states as he turned 70 on 25th June 2022. In a statement signed by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, The president rejoices with the family, friends and associates of the men who impacted greatly on the two states in the areas of architecture and building while in the civil service and wishes him length of days and good health. President Buhari commends the deacon from Zuru local government area of Kebbi State for combining service to God with service to humanity, both as community and state levels, and recommends such devotion to the younger generation. The president also congratulates all those rejoicing with the Kandiki at this auspicious occasion. President Muhammadu Buhari also greets the Chairman Chief Executive Officer of OilServe, Engineer Emeka Okusa, on the wedding of his daughter Chibundu to her heartthrob Fijani Nwadi. The President congratulates the families of Engineer Chukwuemeka and Lady Ifeoma Okusa and Sir Osita and Lady Dr. Chuma Nwadi for being united in the wedlock of their children, and counsels the new couple to make friendship and love the bedrock of the union. Recalling his knowledge of Okusa as a public-spirited investor who recently built a multi-million-dollar free hospital for his people in Oraifite and environs in Anambra State, as well as investments in education and scholarships for indigenous people around the country. The president counsels the new couple to seek to approximate these commendable virtues and values and wishes them a satisfying life together. Nigeria and China, two culturally expressive nations, are using arts to tell their story of togetherness and how years of interdependency have forged a common bond between both nations. Juliana Nicholas was at a drawing competition jointly organized by the FCT Secondary Education Board and the Chinese Embassy, and now reports.
This year's drawing competition with the theme Together for a Shared Future encourages diversity and inclusion between Nigeria and People's Republic of China. The 2022 edition, aside promoting cultural diversities, also created a platform for students to develop new means of communication in both culture and education through their arts.
Young people can, if they study Chinese language, if they learn how to do art things and how to do the music, I think this is a good thing to educate young people to do right things.
This is the 9th year they have been organizing this kind of competition between our students, and this will go a long way to the minds of students to inculcate the behavior of ensuring that they do something for themselves.
I feel good about winning the competition, and I will also inform our other classmates to try and do better to improve in their art skills.
6 out of the 12 students who participated in the drawing competition were shortlisted, and the winner awarded prizes. Melodious music and dance were on display at the event. In Abuja, Juliana Nicholas, NTA News.
As the federal government okays the return of the nation to international basketball competitions, Kene Ima-Buduke in the special reports looks at the contending issues and the way forward. And that does it on Nationwide for today. We thank you for watching. Support NTA in the campaign against